Hello, craft beer friends, and wait a minute, make sure I'm recording.
And welcome to episode 212. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I want to make sure I was recording because I almost started. All right. Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to season 9, episode 15 of Tap to Craft podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Kris McKenzie. How you doing tonight, Kris? And what is in your glass?
Well, this evening, I'm doing great. And in my glass tonight, I've got a beer that we picked up mostly because of the label art. And I already started peeling the sticker off of it, but it's called the Tupac Shaporter. Tupac Shaporter from Ivanhoe Park Brewing in Orlando. And just a real good, simple, roasty porter. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that.
All right. So, excellent.
What about you, Denny? What's in your glass and how are you doing this evening?
Well, I don't want to go too long
without
introducing our guest. But before we introduce our guest, let's find out what's in my glass.
We'll make it quick.
No. We do have a guest on tonight, but any long-time listener of the show knows who we have on here. It's Mr. John Ream of Trek Brewing. He's made another appearance on Tap to Craft podcast. So, John, say hello to our listeners. And what is in your glass?
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Tongue tied as always. I am drinking something from a little place called Trek. It's actually a specialty beer we did for a friend's wedding. It is a s'mores stout. So,
s'mores stout.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? S'more stout?
Well, for their wedding, it was called S'mores Love.
I like that.
But yeah, when it's on tap at my house, it's just called S'mores Stout.
I like the S'mores Love better. That should be like a regular beer you have on your tap, like every Valentine's Day.
I mean, it's Valentine's Day coming up.
You should have this beer out.
If only someone was forward thinking, you know.
Well, or you could just call it s'more money, s'more problems.
There you go.
Yeah. Or no s'more. I don't know. I was thinking of something about trying to get a reservation. No s'more reservations on Valentine's Day. Maybe. Okay. Not good. Well, John, thank you for joining us tonight. I know you're a busy man, but it's always great to have you on the show, and especially finding out we're going to talk. This show is dedicated to Trek Brewing. We want to find out everything we've missed over the last year or so since you've last been on. How long has it been since you've been on last? You remember? A year and a half, a year?
I don't know.
It was during COVID, or right at the it was during the pandemic time frame, because you were talking about how pandemic.
Yeah, it was probably summer of 2020, if I was to guess.
Okay. Wow.
But I think we were still kind of in it.
Yeah, we were still in it for sure.
So,
okay. Well, I don't want to get too much in the conversation. We are going to talk about you here in just a minute, John, but I am drinking a beer from Dru Bru. It's their Kolsch, and they are now distributing in Boise. I've had 2 different beers. This is one 6-pack that I've grabbed, and I also had, I think I mentioned in the last episode, or maybe I didn't. Now I can't remember, but I also grabbed their, and I think I might have had it on the last episode, their dark lager, Schwarzbier. Very good. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I enjoyed that as well. But yeah, this is almost gone, right? Because John didn't bring us any beer. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do a blind. John, you're going to watch Kris and I do a blind tasting, and you can laugh at us.
Yeah, you can watch our embarrassment unfold live on Facebook.
You can ask all the questions and try to see if you can guess what the beer we're drinking is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great if you could guess what the beer is and we get it wrong?
That would be very impressive.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, but hey, let's get this show going. But before we get too far, we always want to let anyone new listening to Tap to Craft podcast know what we're all about. We are an educational podcast celebrating all things craft beer, because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. and you're listening to episode 223, recording on Monday, February 6, 2023. We are live on Facebook. If you would like to join us during our recording session, you can do that on the Monday before we release at 8:30 Eastern Time. And in this episode, we are going to discuss John Ream and Trek Brewing and find out what's changed in the last 4 years that Trek Brewing has been almost like 4 years and almost 2 months, right? Almost, I think it was Black Friday you guys opened, right?
Actually, technically, we're coming up on 5 years in March. We were at like an 8-month soft open period before
that
our
doesn't
big
count.
thing.
No,
but our
the
grand
hard
opening, like official.
It only
big
counts
thing.
when it's hard, guys. Doesn't count when it's soft.
Yeah. We had an 8-month flaccid opening, and then so it'd be about four and some change. So
Okay. Well, we're going to find out what's changed in those 4 years, as well as some great conversation. So, John, who is John Ream? I mean,
we're getting deep
again,
here already.
You were on the first 100 or so episodes of Tap to Craft as a regular co-host before Kris came in and swooped your job away, and you
stole. He would say stolen.
just couldn't hang.
And you did leave for good reasons. Is that you were opening a craft brewery in Ohio? You actually left the Seattle area, left a nice job at a nice area in Seattle, and then moved your family back home to Ohio and decided to open up a commercial brewery. And that was in 2018. So a lot has happened since that time. So does that summarize you, John? Is that how would you summarize who John
I mean,
Ream
that's everything anyone ever needs to know about me right there. Took the big leap back then. Made it through a pandemic and all kinds of shenanigans that went along with that. Still here, still kicking. So
and going strong, right? Is it what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
That's what they say.
Only
I'm like
pisses
the
you
Hulk.
off. Yeah. What doesn't kill you only pisses you off.
Okay. So in the last 4 years, what kind of transition or growth, both in let's say the way you're doing business and how is things going in the last 4 years according to what you originally laid out in your business plan? What kind of diversions did you have to take, and what's your plan now with Trek Brewing, at least from the 4-year point on?
Sure. So the first couple of years, things kind of went as we'd laid them out. Mainly taproom model, having food trucks. Then eventually we made the leap into opening our own kitchen inside the taproom. And that debuted March 1 of 2020. We finished investing into that, got everything spooled up, had 2 weeks, and everything got shut down. And it's like, sweet, just invested a lot of money in getting this thing running, and I can't use it. So that's when things kind of just, obviously for everybody, took weird turns all over the place. Kitchen was a silver lining during that time, though. Gave us an avenue of takeout outside of beer as well. Gave us some new breath during some of that time, which was great. But the pandemic actually accelerated some of our other plans. So we're now packaging in cans, which is awesome. And getting some local distribution there. We've started a bigger push in the local market, both in package and draft, which is nice. And Kristen is spearheading that effort. She's our sales force extraordinaire. So, and then I just get to deliver everything.
Okay, so you're doing the self distributing ish type thing, just local in the local market.
Yep. And kitchen is still going strong. Taproom's going strong. We are now putting a bigger focus on our event space. We've got a whole separate event room that can hold almost 100 people.
Wow.
So we're doing a lot more with that space now, and working on expanding all our offerings over there.
Okay. So you hit on a lot of things that I have questions about. So let's go first to the kitchen. You did invest into the kitchen. At first, you were doing pizzas. because that's something that just anyone, you guys could just go and make some pizzas easily without having a chef and having the full kitchen, mapped out and working. But now I remember there was a time where you actually had hired on a chef or someone to kind of run that whole kitchen thing. Is that still the case? Do you still have somebody that's running that, and what? And from what I see, you've kind of transitioned away from the pizza thing and gone more into a sandwich and burger type menu. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So we don't have pizzas anymore. Those we had partnered with a local wood fire place that had them basically prepped ready to go for us, and we just had to throw them in.
Okay.
Which was really nice. But yeah, then we partnered with one of our more consistent food trucks, hired in the guy that ran that. He just left a couple months ago, so we're in a transition period. Still running everything. It's more of a pub, pub food, burgers, wings, kind of deal now. And we are working on the transition to our new head of operation back there.
Okay. So what would you say is your best seller as far as the menu items you have on your list? You have one thing that's like everyone loves and goes for?
Yes. Fried pretzel bites with beer cheese.
Okay. Everyone, you know what? Everyone loves pretzels and pretzel bites and things that, I love it. That's what I look for when I go to if anything has food, I always want the pretzels, but I find it's difficult to actually find pubs now that are doing pretzels. I imagine that it must be kind of if you're making them homemade, it's got to be a tough thing to keep up with, because I think it's time consuming a little bit. Or if you're buying them pre-made, I think some of the supplies to get those in can be a challenge too. Have you run into any challenges getting your pretzel bites in?
Randomly, just like any food item over the last 3 years. So, that's just been normal supply chain gobbledygook.
Matt Helmer wants to know if you guys still have the Grippo burger.
Yes, we do.
Well, see, Matt, now you have to go. He said he wanted to make a trip back up to see you guys, but now that they have it, you have to go. John said he kept it just for you. So
those are the rules.
Yeah, we just have to live by them. We don't make them.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned that during the pandemic, having the kitchen allowed you to actually have takeout food. Was that something that what was that one of the things that brought people to come and get takeout and maybe some beers or whatever, and take with you actually giving beers, like selling crowlers too, I'm assuming at the time too, right? So they come get their meal and take beer with them, and that was something that you found. Obviously it helped keep you going. Was it actually a profit? Like, was it making profit too, or just trying to keep your inventory and keep things flowing and keeping the bills paid?
Early on, it was, we'll sell anything.
Yeah.
Because if you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. It definitely is what helped pay the bills during that time. Beer will only take you so far.
Yeah.
And we're not in a huge urban center where we've got, million people or whatever. So it was nice to give, like, hey, here's food to go along with the beer. And, we had people that just got beer too, but we would definitely do more combined than anything else.
Okay. Well, good. All right. And you also mentioned that you did transition into, production and canning your beer. So let's talk about how you're doing that. You actually purchased a little canning machine?
Yes. Yeah. We've got a little semi-auto single head filler that I can run alone if necessary and still put out some decent numbers. Doesn't take too long to, put out 25, 30 cases on my own. But if I have a partner, it helps a whole lot, streamlines everything. But yeah, it's super easy. It's done really well for us. So,
and how much, how many cans an hour are you able to put through it?
When we're really humming, we're probably doing about 8 to 10 cans a minute.
Okay.
Through it. By myself, it's more like 4 to 5. So
Okay. Yeah. You slow it down a
But-
little bit so you keep up with it.
I got to put them in and catch them on the other end.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of running back and forth then?
No, I can reach them, thankfully.
Okay.
It's not that big of a, yeah.
All right. And are you doing these? Are they both 12 and 16 ounce cans? Or are they one size only?
Ours is just 12s.
Just 12s? Okay. And you're doing 6-packs? And are you doing mixed packs, 6-packs, just of
Mostly 6-packs, some 4-packs for some of their specialty beers or higher,
Mhm.
like our Russian Imperial Stout stuff when we put that into cans,
Yeah.
that's 4-pack. So
Okay. And you obviously you're offering those as takeouts from the brewery, but you're also providing those to local stores around the area. How far are you guys getting out from Newark?
right now, all of our cans are within a 5-10 mile radius.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
not super far.
So
But,
convenience stores and stuff like that.
mostly local grocery markets. And then our draft goes farther. We're probably 30-40 miles out with draft.
Okay.
So
Okay. How many beers do you take out? Like, do you have like flagship beers that that they just want to have these beers all the time? Or is it a mix at some of these places? How do you guys how are you sending these beers out and in what styles?
yeah, we've so most places will carry our West Coast IPA, our year-round hazy IPA, and then our cream ale. Usually, that's our top-selling beer overall. Our canteen cream ale, and then they'll take seasonals as they come out. And then we've got one place that stocks every year-round beer we have.
Nice.
Nice.
Which place is that?
That is. Am I legally allowed to say that? I'm not sure.
Whoa! You can't say where your
You're-
places are.
Actually, no,
you're
I can.
promoting
You-
one of your customers.
You asked me the question, so I can say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's over at the Beverage Source, which is almost across the street from us. So it's,
That makes delivery pretty nice, huh?
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, and the art. So one of the things that we noticed, and what you guys really worked hard at early on when you're developing Trek Brewing as a brand, is your artwork. You have a unique artwork, and you want to, you had an artist that you're working with. Are you still working with that same artist for building your labels, or have you transitioned?
Yes, we are. Yes, we
Okay.
are. So we've had great continuity, and his art style is awesome. Matt Battaglia. He also does comic books and stuff. You can find him out there. But yeah, we love his art. He's working on 2 or 3 things for us right now that we'll hopefully be sharing soon. But
good. Good.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kris and I have mentioned on the show a few times when we see new labels and stuff coming out that we still really enjoy the artwork. So we give you 2 thumbs up for continuity and just good artwork and good beer names too. I really appreciate the beer names.
That's the hardest thing ever.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could just be rambling off a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask one more, and then, well, all these questions are ones that I just thought about that I wanted to talk to you about. And I feel bad because I'm hogging the mic from Kris.
Hog it. Go for it.
Okay. So I have to ask a question. We saw actually in last episode, Mr. Mark Church, local consumer of Trek beers in your area. He was on the Facebook Live last week or last episode and this episode, and he mentioned, "Hey, talk to John and find out what we brewed up." And then he spilled the beans when he checked it into Untapped that you actually produced another Belgian dark strong ale called Luce in the Church. So what is this all about? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I was doing Pelotonia, which is a bike charity event here in Columbus, raise money for cancer research here locally. And we held an event at Trek for our Trek Brewing team. And Mark won a silent auction to brew beer at Trek.
Nice.
And so when I talked to him, like, what do you want to do? He says, I want to do the Luce cannon. I heard you guys talk about it.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
make it. And I was like, all right. And then it took us forever to get our schedules to line up. And so finally, like 2 years after, here we are with the beer. And I told Mark when we made it, if it turns out great, I'm taking the credit. If it doesn't, it's because you were here.
That's a fair deal.
But no, it turned out great. Mark was awesome on brew day. Had no complaints about getting in, getting dirty, doing all the things. He did not have to hand crank his grain though, Denny. I will say that.
That's why it turned out good, right?
He got to use the real big mill. So he got that bonus over you. But yeah, I was looking it up before we got on today. And we brewed that beer August 18th of 2014.
Wow.
So we're over
almost
8 years later, and here's another thing. I just found a bottle.
I found a bottle too.
Okay.
What?
I also have a bottle, and I was shocked because I thought I drank every last one. So
Yeah. So we'll have to arrange a simultaneous tasting of that at some point.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was shocked because I was going through and I was trying to. I've gone through my cellar really good and almost drank everything. Right, I had all these beers I was cellaring, and then I was going through and I was organizing, and all of a sudden I pull out a non-labeled beer, and I'm like, no one's giving me any homebrew for a while. And I look at the cap and I saw LC on there, like, no way. There's no way I have another Luce cannon still. So yeah, we'll have to get together and taste that taste that and record it so we can share that on the YouTube and see if it holds out for 8 years.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
impressive.
the big mystery.
Well, good. So Mark's a home brewer as well, right?
Yes.
And was he able to add any insight into the beer, or did you design the beer yourself and he just had to follow your orders?
No, he wanted to do it as close to original as we could. So we scaled it up to do a 1 barrel batch, and just tried to keep it as close as possible. And this time we were ready for the really poor extraction. So I had plenty of extract on hand to give us that little bump at the end.
Did you have to add some?
We did have to add a little bit, yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't just me then. It just
Well, it
seems
was
to be
probably
inherent.
mostly you, yeah. We didn't have to add as much. We probably added the same amount we added to the 5-gallon batch with Quinn.
Well, great. So, all right. So now that I know it's hard to remember 8 years ago. We know that originally it came across a little bit sweeter than we liked. And I think that was the notes that at the homebrew contest, it said it, a little bit sweeter than expected. And maybe, I don't remember the other comments either, but with the first first pull of this beer, what is your impressions as far as, did you guys nail it like first shot, or is it one of those beers that's going to, as it ages a couple months, is going to just get better? What do you think?
Out of the gate, it's a lot better. And it does have a little bit of sweetness, but not the same levels we had back then.
Okay.
But really nice dark stone fruit, cherry, well, like caramel. There's a little bit of bubble gum in the back of it.
Wow.
It's really nice, super smooth for 11%.
Yeah.
And it's getting really, really good feedback. And I think Mark came back in Saturday and started getting them, and then people were like, what is he getting? and started trying it. And we sold like a bunch of crowlers to people. That like, we need to take more of this home. Like I can't have more now because I got to drive, but like I want more at home.
Mark said, be nice, John.
So, okay. So this could prove to be a seasonal, maybe at Christmas time, you guys decide that, hey, it's after Thanksgiving, we're going to brew up a batch of Luce in church, and people, are going to demand it, right? They're going to want this beer again. You can't just do a one-off.
Well, I can do whatever I want.
Denny, your wish is finally coming true.
Yeah, we'll have to rename it though for Mark, because he really knocked it out of the park. I mean, you kind of put the ball up on the tee and then he hit the home run, so
well, it took me a minute to realize when I first saw the name, I'm like, Luce in church, why do you change the name from Luce Cannon? And then I realized, because I think Mark helped him brew it, and so it's Mark Church, Luce.
Yep.
Luce in church. It all made sense. I was thinking maybe it's a play on the Italian, Luce in Italian is light. Maybe it's light in church.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it
depends on who you talk to. No, it depends on who you talk to. It could be both.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm very excited about that. I was pushing you to brew it, and it finally took another patron of Trek to convince you, and had to.
Yeah, they had to
contest.
They had to pay to do it.
They had to pay to do it, and it finally got made. So thank you, Mark, for finally making it happen. And I'm glad it turned out really well, because there's no doubt this is what the beer could have been if I wouldn't have screwed it up. And I still like the one we made, but this one sounds even better. Okay, let's transition to another beer, John. I saw on your tap list, and by the way, you have an impressive tap list, by the way.
Thank you.
He says that to all the boys.
Yeah. What I like about your tap list is you have something for everyone, and you have special treats for people too that want special beers, like this intense experience Imperial Black IPA.
Yep.
Talk about this beer.
So this is one we did way back. We went 3 years between brewings of this beer. And so, this kind of goes back to our previous debates back when I used to actually be on the show about this style of beer.
It's changed. It's changed recently though, right? It's changed.
But so this is one I've always enjoyed. It's a nice big double IPA with some Centennial, Citra. There's a little bit of roast in there, but lets the hops really shine. So it's one that I'm hoping that we will do more regularly. Folks that are getting it seem to be enjoying it. So, but a lot of folks are still like, I don't want something that dark with my IPA. So, but we're educating. Yeah.
I know we had some great conversations about Black IPA back when it was, first a thing for a short minute. But I will, and I think the reason is because brewers didn't know how to brew a proper one, right? They were just kind of, like you said, making. I mean, I like to have the roast, but now I get that roast, but I get like it's just a little bit of roastiness with dominant IPA hop character and stuff, and it's just there's so many good ones now that it's not just an American stout. It's a Black IPA. So I'm grateful. I think, as I mentioned before in the show, I think this is a great style to not have as a primary beer all year round, but one that brewers bring out every so often, like Wookie Jack is back again. I just grabbed I had some during Christmas time. I just grabbed a six pack of it. And I just love that beer, but I don't want to drink it all the time. If I can look forward to it and expect it to come, once a year, like we do with our winter warmers, a great style to really appreciate that style without becoming the norm. You don't want it to become the norm. And so 3 years is a little bit long though. You might want to shorten that.
Yeah.
That length a little bit. Okay, I've got one more question before I give to Kris to ask a couple questions. And I'm only asking this because I'm the one that have the question. So I'm just curious. So I noticed that your serving sizes, you have 10-ounce pours, 10-ounce or 16-ounce pours, 10-ounce pours, and 5-ounce pours. That makes sense. In fact, I like that range of pours. You have the taster, and you have the, not the full beer, the almost half beer, and then the full beer. But what it was interesting is that I noticed that your 10-ounce pours are $5 and your 16-ounce pours are $6. So then I'm starting to think, is that because you tend to sell more 10-ounce pours than 16-ounce pours, or what's the deal? Why are you giving me 6 more ounces for only $1 more?
It's just what it is, Denny. I mean, the amount of labor that goes into it is basically the same.
Wait a minute. Wait. But
into pouring a beer,
into pouring, okay,
and then washing all the glassware and all that stuff. You know,
Okay.
that all adds up, right?
Okay.
And so yeah, the fractional stuff, it all takes about the same amount of time. Takes about, so yeah, it is what it is.
Okay. No, I do appreciate, I drink. So one of the things I've mentioned is I don't drink tasters anymore. When I go, I either drink a full pint or I drink 10-ounce pours, because I like the 10-ounce pour because it allows me to go ahead and sample 3 beers at 10 ounces and get a good draw on it to understand how it changes as it sits out and warms up and everything. And I can drink 3 of them instead of just 2 beers, right? So I get 3, I can try 3 of their beers instead of 2. So I love the 10-ounce pours. I wish more breweries would do it. And like I said, I don't think I've had a single taster in the last 2 years because I decided that I don't want to judge a beer just based off of a 4 or 5 ounce pour. It just doesn't do it justice. And I found so many beers that I enjoyed more once I had a full serving of it than I did with the taster. But that's mine. Okay, that's enough of me. Kris, I left a couple questions here at the bottom. I
get the scraps at the end. All right. Well, Denny, you rest your voice, have a sip of beer or two. So, John, have you entered any of your beers into brewing contests, local, state brewing contests?
Local contests?
No,
Nothing.
No, we haven't.
Why is that?
You gonna let me ask this question or
Yeah,
or what? Well, John, why
Denny,
is that?
This is Kris and I's time now.
Yeah.
You had your time. Part of it's timing. When some of the comps came up, stuff we would want to enter either wasn't like fresh, or we were basically out, and the amount you have to send us some of these things, like it can be quite a bit. And if we're going to be out of it, well, there's not a lot of good return on a metal that you're out of beer for 2 months.
That's fair.
So, yeah, mostly just timing on a lot of the stuff when it comes up. But we only have like 2 local, and by local they're basically state comps throughout the year, and some of them actually each year they designate different styles. So we may not even have something that we can enter, so we don't brew it yet. Yeah, so not yet.
Okay. Well, what about community outreach? If you're not doing any beer contests, I know you guys are always reaching out into the community. I see, between you and Kristen and all the things you guys post on social media. I imagine that's Kristen too, by the way.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the community outreach programs that you do, and why do you guys get into those?
Yeah, so it's actually a big part of what we wanted the brewery to be when we opened. And one of the first things we did after we established a brewery was we went and established a community fund for the brewery with the Licking County Foundation, which is a nonprofit that kind of manages a lot of funds and scholarships and other things locally for folks that want to have the ability to give back in the community and make sure it's going where they want it to be. They help us vet different organizations, or if we say, hey, we're trying to do this event, we want something, related to trails or whatever, like who locally is doing that work and doing it right now. Then they're like, here's a list, go talk to these few folks. And so that's been extremely helpful for us. We run on basically all of our charity stuff through that fund that we donate into every month. And that's all through regular Thursdays. Every Thursday, we partner with another local nonprofit, give them space in the brewery to set up, talk to folks about their mission. And then 10% of all sales from the entire day go to that nonprofit. And then most of our special events are also tied to charity in some way, like our 0.5K race around the parking lot.
Yeah.
That goes to the local Y runs a camp for all, and taking care of kids that need more attention at summer camp. So it funds the ability for those kids to go to camp with the resources they need every summer. So we do stuff like that for pretty much all of our special events as well.
That's pretty awesome. Well, we'll add an extra one in there, Denny, that is not on your list that Mr. Matt Helmer wants to know.
Yeah,
Is there a beer that you haven't brewed? I assume you're talking about a style, Matt. Is there a beer that you have not brewed that you want to try someday just for the brewery?
Like a lambic?
Yeah, still a little gun shy on bringing the plugs in.
Yeah.
That we haven't done.
Have you done a cold IPA?
I have not done a cold IPA. I've been reading about cold IPAs and maybe how to do those. Although I think I would like to branch out a little more into the Belgian arena. I appreciate all the plugs you guys give the Saison throughout the year. And now doing this Belgian Dark Strong, it's getting good attention. I would love to explore more into that space. And that's something I haven't really done even at home, like when I was brewing. So I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah. A Belgian double would be a fun beer that is not seen very often, but is welcoming. And I mean, it's a Belgian style that I think you can really get people to enjoy Belgian beers by giving a nice subtle double.
Yeah.
To start with. And then you can work up to the triples and
we'll get a quad to pair with our Belgian Dark Strong.
Yeah, the quad is tough. But also, another one, of course, is the whip beer would be a good one too. A little Hogarten, Newark style, Trek style.
Yeah,
would be good. And but do not do a Belgian stout or a Belgian IPA. I just don't like those two Belgian styles or even styles.
Might as well go brewed IPA at that point.
Yeah, those are two styles I've struggled to find something good that I've enjoyed.
Me too. Me too. I agree. And I make it known that you were the one that got me back into trying Belgians again. I had some bad experiences early on in my craft beer journey. I just didn't like them. And you did provide me with a list of beers that I went out and found and drank and fell in love with and got me reinvigorated with the Belgian beers. And now I love all of them except for the IPA and the stout. Those are the two I can't.
And none of those were on my list.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Well, good question, Matt. Thank you for providing one extra question for John. Well, I think we did it, Kris. We just chatted for like 30 minutes about John and Trek.
Yeah. Well, that's not hard to do.
Yeah. So what do you want to do, Kris? You want to go ahead and try? You want to do a blind? You want John to help us with our blind tasting?
Yeah, let's do this.
This is just what you wanted, wasn't it, John? See, if you would have got us beer, we could be drinking your beer.
I'm gonna
Wow.
close my eyes. do
Denny,
this
let it
blind.
go.
All right. This is from, again, it's been a couple weeks
Oh,
since we
Jesus.
did this. This
The
is
green.
beer
there we
number
go.
2,
Yeah.
wrapped up in some nice Christmas paper from Jeff Seiler,
There's the not
one of our
green parts of my
great
wrapper. There we go.
listener who wanted us to do a segment where Chris and I drink the same beer, but we don't know what it is. And we try to guess the style. And if we're able to, even the beer itself. And we struck out miserably last time. I felt so dumb after I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that is that beer. And I even said German Hef, but
Well, you're going to smell this and we're going to start going down a rabbit hole.
are we? Well, let's pour it in. Oh, wow. Okay. It's pouring a little bit. It's probably a double IPA. Let me smell it. It
Wish I could
smells,
pour a beer like a
it
professional.
smells like an
'cause
English
damn,
IPA. It does have a malt, like a caramel coloring. You can see that I pour just like normal.
Okay,
John.
good. You pour like I did.
I pour crappy. I still can't pour damn beer.
One day we'll learn.
Wow, this is when I first smelt it, I was thinking, oh, it smells like
That head,
English IPA. It's got a great head. I mean, look at that head. That's beautiful. It's got coarse and thin bubbles. It's kind of like
It's creamy
a
looking.
tan, creamy, sticks around.
Let's see if we can get it.
Coloring is amber. It's
Oh,
probably an
look at that.
amber. Gosh, this isn't. Now I smell it. Now it might be an amber. Is it Fat Tire?
No, there is no way.
It's too dark for Fat Tire.
No,
Right?
well, no, it's too hoppy smelling too. If I could get through
You're right.
all
It
the
is.
damn
It does
foam,
have. You're right. It does have hop in there. That's why I first
Get
smelled it.
my-
I was thinking it was like a English IPA. Okay,
my
so
foam dissector here.
so one of the things Jeff said is that all the beers are things that we've probably had and is readily available to everyone.
Jeff, if this is a high lie and I get it wrong, I'm going to be so upset.
Okay. I'm having trouble pulling out any aromas,
I know, because look how dense this head
and
is.
it's because it is fruit, kind of fruity.
Okay, I got to get through this head. So bottoms up.
Oh, it's Dogfish Head. 60-minute. What do you think?
I mean, you sounded so confident when you said it. How to?
No, I just drank it, and that's what it tasted like. It
But it
tasted like
is.
60-minute. Which again, this is exactly what I would think is like an English IPA. What do you think? Am I wrong? What do you think, John?
I don't know it.
Have
I
you
wouldn't.
had a Dogfish Head for a while?
My memory of 60-minute though would not be anything close to an English unless it's got a little age on it, maybe.
Well,
That might be it. Because you said malty caramel smell
Mhm.
to it, and that it could almost be that oxidation smell too. Because as hoppy as this is, I don't know. Well, if there's anything
So
on
the-
the bottom,
so it's got
this
so
was
it's got,
packaged in October.
It's got earthy, kind of an earthy hop character with maybe a little bit of fruit, maybe some stone fruit in the back.
This
Wow.
is not. I know this isn't high lie though, so that's good.
Okay, let me think of other beers that have a similar. Oh. No, this can't be. It's lighter than this. This can't be Lagunitas because it's definitely more piney. This is not piney.
I don't know.
I'm,
This
I'm
is-
getting
do get-
different. I'm getting different reads on hoppy levels here. Chris seems to be
This
a
is
lot.
pretty. This is pretty.
saying a lot more than Denny is. So I'm struggling to get a read.
Yeah, it's got a decent bitterness, and now I'm picking out maybe some citrus hops.
And I'll admit I'm trying to cheat because I'm looking for something on the bottom of the can, and There's nothing there.
It does have some fruity.
But as hoppy as this is, it would be so hard to tell. And I have this feeling we're gonna take the paper off of it, just like we did last time. We're gonna go, oh, I totally could have nailed that one.
Yeah, so maybe it's a.
I gotta go double IPA on this one though.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me think of double IPAs that have. I'm trying to. This is familiar though.
If it's
This
not,
beer-
it's borderline.
This beer is very familiar to me. I'm having trouble. It's not like piney or super citrusy like you get with.
Did you
certain
get the
beer.
same beer that I got?
Number 2.
Yeah, I know wrappers, everything's the same, but that Jeff, he's a crafty fella.
What's a bitterness level here? What are we
The
saying?
bitterness is
I'd
probably
go 60
40.
to 80.
No,
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
say. Okay, I'll say
Meet me in the middle at 50.
50. I'll
Okay.
say 50.
All right.
IBUs of 50.
All right.
And that's what I taste as far as the bitterness.
But it's got that, like, when I say borderline double, like this is 6-ish, 7-ish percent, just because of how it's almost syrupy.
It is. You're right. It does have a little bit thicker heaviness to it.
And we're going to keep tasting it and tasting it. And we'll find out real fast.
No, I know. I've had this beer. I've had so many different beers. How am I supposed to be able to remember every single one?
It's first world problems, my friend. First world problems.
Maybe it's Celebration.
Ooh, okay.
But I remember Celebration. I just had Celebration, and it was.
I
more
would.
citrusy. But this does have citrus.
You know what? I could back you up on that one, but isn't it normally a little more red, or am I just thinking about the can too much? And Celebration did come
Actually,
in a 12-ounce can this year.
I think I'm going to change my thing to Celebration.
That's a fair guess, and I would happily back you up on that one.
Okay,
Tear it off.
tear it off. Let's see it.
I'm saying dead guy.
Dead guy.
Dead guy
guy.
IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead
Okay.
guy.
We haven't had Dead
Dead-
Guy IPA. We've had the Maibach. Wow, he
Holy
really
shit.
used some.
Holy
some-
shit. He did it.
It is Celebration.
Danny.
Way to
Way to go.
I got it.
Wow.
I can't even get this damn label off. Too good of.
Yeah, he
Look at this.
electrical
Can't even get it off.
tape and wrapping paper.
I did call at the last minute.
Way to
it
go,
came to me.
Denny.
Pulled it out.
Wow. Celebration.
See, I'm impressed. I was hedging down a little bit because Denny just came off a Kolsch and you came off of something with sweetness. So I thought maybe you guys were
I
over
was
perceiving that bitterness a little bit based
I
on the
was-
rest of what you were saying.
porter though.
Yeah.
Like I
We
okay.
did.
But here's
We
the
did.
other thing. What I said 6 to 7%. It's a 6.8.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the IBUs on this thing, you think, too? You think it's 60?
I'd have to look it up.
Well, you know what? It was that last couple sips. And you said, when you said double IPA, I started thinking double. But then I started, as this warms up too,
65 IBUs.
I get
I
more.
got that one too.
I started getting that familiarness that I just got done drinking like a 12-pack of this during Christmas time. So you would think that I would been more aware. I knew I had just had it, and I haven't had Dogfish Head in a long time. Now I need to compare this to Dogfish Head. It's probably totally different.
Well, now you got to go find Dogfish Head that hasn't been sitting on the shelf for 6 months plus.
Well, that was fun. And we're 1-1. We
Ooh.
totally blew the first one. The second one we nailed. So
We're batting
thank you, Jeff.
500. Jeff Seiler said, "Great job, guys. You zeroed in on it like champs. Well done." You know what? I've achieved a fair amount of things in my life.
Right.
This is one of the highlights. It really is.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jeff.
Well, that was fun. I hope it was fun for John too to watch us look like idiots. Okay, John's going to grab a beer. While John grabs a beer, we're going to go ahead and thank all of our Patreon supporters because this episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlemmer, Amanda and Kevin Argauer, Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kutzel, and Alex Fuchs, who are our virtual producers. I got a burp.
Do it.
And Tom Byrne, Jeff Styler, Johan Halberg, Chalamasa, Mark Church, and Eric Gronley, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host or buying us a virtual beer or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. And we love having all your questions and things you know, and just reading what you guys have to say, whether you like the show, hate the show, whatever. We don't want to hear about hating, but if you have suggestions, you can send those suggestions to us through email at tapthecraft@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at tapthecraft. And of course, Kris would love to interact with you on our Facebook page at facebook.com/tapthecraft. And we do have a Discord server, and it is kind of active. And, you know, I've even been on there a few times, and it's kind of a fun place to be able to post your beers and interact with people and join our other community members in a more localized environment. And there it is, Discord. Just find it on our Linktree site, linktr.ee/tapthecraft. Has all links to all of our stuff there, and join our Discord server.
And if you do have any I hate the show emails, you can send them to John.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kris, let's continue the conversation, because now it's time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped. As you take another sip.
According to us, we're drinking.
I've got two beers now. I got a Wookiee Jack, and
I can pour a beer, just so you guys know.
Yeah, you've probably done it a few hundred more times. That was a Canteen Cream Ale, wasn't it?
No.
Or what was the other? Oh no, it's your IPA. No,
our double tandem hike.
Look at you. Who is off tonight drinking double IPAs?
Hell yeah. I just got to run the canner in the morning.
It's okay. You can do it with one eye closed.
Oh, that was one thing I wanted to ask too. So you've scaled. So after the pandemic, did you scale back your hours to where you're doing 5 days instead of, weren't you doing 6 days a week before?
Yes, we dropped Mondays.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, there just wasn't a reason to be open.
Not a lot of traffic on Mondays.
Yeah. And then we also at a certain point stopped doing like lunch during the week as well.
Yeah.
So we only open like in the afternoon now.
Yeah. I saw that too.
So
good. Yeah. No, you have to adapt to what's going. And if you don't have a lot of people coming in, you save that money. And
yeah, well, the two office buildings next to us, there was nobody in them anymore. So, you know,
that makes it tough.
Yeah, we'll slow you down. So if you want us to read your check-ins on our show, make sure you follow me on Untapped at MCK1345. I gotta change my username. That's such a lame name. But
to at Stud Kris.
Yeah, because that's better. But you know, the stud finder goes off every time I use it. So, but we're gonna start with Mr. Florida Steve, only because, buddy, you need to let these Advent beers go.
He's still doing the Advent beers. They're so bad he can't
do
drink
yourself a favor, cut your losses, and checking into the Advent Beers Cerveza. Great notes. Smells infected. Tastes smooth enough, but not much bready character. Two cap rating on that. Guys, life lesson. If anything starts out with smells infected, continue on. Just keep moving. Mike Allen is checking into a handful of things at his favorite check-in spot, the Taco Mac. He's got the Campfire Coffee Brown by Pontoon Brewing, ESB, which nobody drinks enough of anymore, by Monkey Wrench Brewing, and the Voodoo Ranger Hop Raider IPA from New Belgian Brewing Company. Mr. Jeff Seiler. Jeff, I love this one. He's drinking an Always Sunny in Citradelphia by New Grass Brewing Company. The can art, this one's a solid one. The words are just like what you would see if you ever watched the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's a hop on the front of it, but the hop looks like Danny DeVito.
Oh, geez.
All Citra, which I love, absolutely delish. And it's always tasty in North Citralina. He gave this one a 4.25 caps for this beer. And great can art. Eric Gronley Eric Gronley gave him a couple of comments. It's a great name. Bill Schlemmer, very punny. I also love most things Citra. Checking in next on the list is JC. He's drinking a Hop Cakes by Noda Brewing Company. And no notes on this one, but 4.5 caps for this beer. Hop Cakes. It's in the Imperial IPA. Jeff Weesey drinking a Noticeably Absent by Wood Grain Brewing. Here's that Wood Grain Brewing popping up again. Light and crisp, easy drinking with a clean finish. Cheers, 5 cap rating from Mr. Jeff Weesey on the Noticeably Absent. Eric Gronley checking in at the GHQ. Excuse me. He's drinking a special double cream stout by Bell's Brewery. This one's a home run. Very deep flavor, dark chocolate and smooth coffee flavors. No bitter burnt malt. Very creamy and easy to drink. 4.25 caps for that beer. Chad Lamassa continuing his check-in streak. Drinking a beer from the folks over at Crooked Crab. These guys have some really cool can art too. He's drinking a motorboat Manticore by Crooked Crab Brewing Company. And he said, love the fun can art, pine and grapefruit, 4.25 caps for that check-in. Jeff Weesey is also checking into the Halcyon Promise by Covert Artisan Ales at the Independent Ale House. He said, wow, amazing blend of barrel-aged barley wine and stout. Finishes like a Fig Newton. You got me there. Awesome. Cheers. 5 cap rating for that one. So that's 2 5 cap ratings for Jeff Weesey. Jeff Seiler also checking into a Cocamungo by Three Floyds Brewing. Big, boozy, and mildly sweet barrel-aged imperial stout with coconut. Yummy. And he said he purchased this one at McScrooge's Wines and Spirits. 4.5 caps for that one. Scott Cooper, my buddy Coop over here in the Tampa area. He's drinking a Risty Hurler by Cigar City Brewing. He's currently at Cigar City. He gave this one a 5 cap rating. No notes to go along with it. And Robert, chew your beer. Guys, it is a 5 cap kind of night tonight. He's drinking Hops on Repeat by Pure Project Brewing. Perfection. Everything is perfect were the notes that he left for this one, along with a 5 cap rating. Mr. Mark Church drinking a Voodoo Ranger Fruit Force IPA by New Belgian Brewing Company. They aren't lying. Tastes like fruit punch, but only enough for a 3 cap rating on that one. Kevin Page, Denny, what brewery is he checking into?
Burial? Urban Artifact?
Very good guess.
Okay.
He's checking into a To Streak Blood Across My Brow by Burial Burial Beer Company. And he gave that one a 4.5 cap rating. Mark Reedy is drinking a Liquid Confessional, which he tagged you and I in. I got to give him a little toast on that one. Drinking a Liquid Confessional by Dust Bowl Brewing Company at Dust Bowl Brewing Company. Mark, I think we're going to need to talk to the folks over there too, because they've put out some pretty good beer also. Great sidekick to my favorite Dust Bowl beer, Confused Therapist. Combination of New Zealand and American hops, a slightly cloudy double IPA. Provides a smooth, easy drinking 9%er with subtle pineapple at the finish. I'll think another.
Exactly.
You know what? That came
That's
out
exactly-
just fine with me because that's how I
understood
feel
it.
right now. I drink, I'll think another. Take me, ossifer. I'm home. 4.5 cap rating for the Liquid Confessional from Dust Bowl. Let's see. Moving on up the list. Chad Lamassa again.
Oh, another one.
Chad, this label is even better. Mostly because it's got a mythological creature playing a guitar covered in the American flag, or I'm sorry, the Maryland flag. He's drinking a Chessie's Girl by True Respite Brewing Company. He said, it just feels like a 2-beer night. Another music pun and a style I don't have a ton of experience with. Notes of raisins, plums, and toffee. It's a little sweet. Now, Chessie, just like Nessie, Chessie apparently inhabits the Chesapeake Bay. Chessie's Girl is a Scotch ale.
I was going to guess Scotch ale, but
Were you?
well, because I was thinking.
I gotta
the Loch
trust him.
Ness-
He's on fire tonight.
No. I was
That's
thinking
right.
I was, for some reason, I had in my mind Loch Ness Monster and what's in there, is Scotland. And I was
Oh,
thinking
that's fair.
Scotch ale.
Yeah.
So I was
yeah.
thinking
Okay.
that might be it. I
Okay.
should have said it before you said, so I would have been.
No, I'm with John. You're on fire tonight, and that argument just that holds up. So I can't really fault you for that one. Mark Connor is drinking a peppermint bark Yeti.
Oh,
Not
interesting.
sure how I feel about that, but
Depends on the mint.
He, on the other hand, I would imagine it's peppermint. Yeah, it's peppermint bark. Mint coffee nose. Taste is mint chocolate with some roast and vanilla to finish it off. 4.5 cap rating for that one.
John, have you done anything with mint at Trek?
No.
Okay, it's too hard, right? It's like I don't usually get the mint things because it's just artificial a lot and too much, and can taste like toothpaste.
I find mint very polarizing as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like smoke, not as polarizing as smoke, but like, it's really hard to have a smoke beer that you can have appreciated by a lot of folks because it's just very subjective.
Yeah, well, I think mint is the same way. You go just enough and it's perfect, but too much and it can just be way too overbearing. Craig Andrew is drinking a guava pistachio cream puff by Arcane Ale Works. Every time I see pistachio in a beer, it's been green. And this one is no exception. His notes on this one, elaborate, just like I would do. Tasty. 4.25 caps from this beer from Arcane Ale Works.
Good.
He also checked into another Arcane beer, some kind of blueberry creamsicle thing. That's what it was called. Blueberry and vanilla, sweet and lightly tart. 4.25 caps for that one for the some kind of blueberry creamsicle thing. Even better. Mark Church. He's drinking a Luce in Church by Trek Brewing Company. Well done, John. Ready to see what this tastes like in a year. 5 cap rating for that beer.
Yeah, he's got a keg at home, so he's ready.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to make it for the year. I hope he's got some sort of container. You guys putting that in crowlers or no?
Yep.
All right.
It's only one barrel, so you're going to run out of it quick, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, and if you take out what we actually yielded from that too. Yeah. We didn't yield a full barrel, so.
Oh, wow.
That's true, because you're not going to get a full barrel.
Yeah.
So it was a 1 barrel batch, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the losses are exaggerated on the small system too, because when you think percentages, then it dips pretty quick. But yeah.
Do you remember what you got out of it?
I know exactly what I got out of it.
Well, I know you do, but do you remember it off the top of your head?
Yes.
Can you share it?
We got 2 kegs, the half barrel that we put on at the brewery and the 6th that I sent to Mark. So.
Oh, okay.
So it's
I might have been able to squeak out a little bit more, but we had dropped quite a bit out to clear the yeast out. So it was you build up a lot of yeast, getting rid of that much sugar to get to 11%.
So no chance this is going in a barrel for aging for a year then?
No.
No.
And you don't have a choice. Like unless you're going to put it in cans, you only have the choice of crowlers to get it out of to take it home, right? You don't have any way of giving him 12-ounce cans.
Right.
So I mean, 32 ounces of beer each time. And that's a big beer to want to drink 2 at one time, right? You need to be sharing a full glass with.
Well, and you're talking 16 ounces of 11%. I mean, it's really like 3 beers of the way you should.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So that's hardcore. And you almost need to make that one so that it's only on special circumstances would someone be able to take a crowler, but it should be on tap only because it's going to go really quick, giving away 2 beers. We're at the brewery, you're only giving them 10-ounce pours, right?
Right. So I'm giving away 3 beers for a crowler.
3 beers. So what is that? A $32 crowler?
$20.
21.
21.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So $7 a beer.
That's not awful.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
And you get
especially for that big of a beer.
and you get 2 extra, 32.
You get 2 extra ounces.
You get 2. Yeah, you get 6 ounces extra.
Oh, then it's a steal.
Wow, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
wait,
go ahead.
Were you going to send us crowlers of that when you sent beer?
No,
Yeah.
you're ruining it. Damn it.
I was.
In past
Can
tense.
it get here? Can it get here by Saturday? Because I have my Dark Beer Fest, my 2nd annual Dark Beer Festival on Saturday. So can we ship that really quick so I can share with all my people who are coming?
I already told you I was planning to just crack it myself. So Kris is going to get his still.
Or I'm getting 2. Well, either way.
Okay.
All right. So Craig Andrew is checking into another couple of beers. Grandma Fingers Banana Nut Pancakes. These Grandma Finger beers from Arcane Ale Works, the names on them always just kind of make me giggle a little bit. But he said, I'm not in love. Nice mouthfeel and sweetness, just a bit much on the maple. I read that, and that didn't even really make sense to me. But for 3 3/4 caps rating for that beer. He also checked into the number 7 9th anniversary collaborative Imperial IPA with Green Cheek by Other Half Brewing Company. He said, check-in number 2000. Woo!
Oh,
nice. So congratulations on check-in number 2000 there, Craig. He said it's an 8% hazer, Citra and HBC 586 collab with Green Cheek. Fire. 4 3/4 caps.
Have you had a chance to get into those HBC 586 hops?
Oh, me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just about to go, John. He's asking you.
I mean, do you get an opportunity to get some of these experimental hops that I think that one is one that is very special, especially in a pale ale. I think if it works really well as a lighter hop that just has some great flavor that just, I mean, I had it I get every single beer I can, and Sockeye just released, I'm going to talk about it here in my new and noteworthy beer. But they released a single. They've been doing a single hop series of beers, and now they've got this one, and it's good. Not as good as the Jim Dandy one I had. That beer was incredible, but this one's everything that hop does. I really appreciate. It's really a good, more lighter flavored, but really works well with a pale ale, not a primary like an IPA. It's not. I don't think it is strong enough to be an IPA. And give the same benefits as it is with a pale. But have you had any chance to work with experimental hops? No?
I have not with that. We occasionally get offers for them, but when we're getting offers, it's like you've never heard of it yet, so it's not really known. We haven't put anything out that's had anything in it. Okay. I don't think. I'm trying to think back. But I don't think we've put anything on tap that's had one of those in it. So,
are you still doing guest taps?
When we don't have enough of our own.
Okay.
Well, here's the last one.
Oh.
Mr. Matt Knight is drinking a Winter Landscape by Industrial Arts Brewing. He's checking in at the round table, and he said this was roasty, hoppy, and a hint of coffee and chocolate. Well done. 4 cap rating. And Denny, He tagged you and I in that one. And
Oh, way to go, Matt.
That is what everyone is drinking.
All right. Was that round table pizza or what?
Listen, it's
Is
just a
Round Table
round
Pizza
table.
even
He
still-
could be hanging out with King Arthur too. It's a
At
home.
night, he has his own round table. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
That's
It's
true.
his home. I don't know if it's his home, but it just says home private, and it says it's also an arcade. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's his place.
Okay.
I'm over in Hilton, New York.
Wait, this is Matt. Oh, Matt Knight,
Yes,
not Matt Helmer. Okay. I
not
got
Matt
confused.
Helmer. Matt Helmer's in Ohio. Matt
I know,
Knight's in
but I
New York.
was thinking you said Matt Helmer, but it's Matt Knight. Okay. I gotcha. Maybe it is his place. All right. Well, you know what? I had this Beer Speak 101 thing that we were going to talk about last week or last episode, and we got too long. This episode, we're getting long. We are going to go do a brew buzz. We have a brew buzz for you, John.
Sweet.
You're on the spot again.
Awesome.
Get ready. The brew buzz this week is going to be discussing entering beers in the Great American Beer Fest with experience from Trek Brewing. So, John, we had asked on air about your experience, and you wrote back and said, yeah, it wasn't all that great, but we want to find out a little bit more details. So basically, you have entered beers into Great American Beer Fest. So when did you enter beers into the Great American Beer Fest?
2019,
No, it's probably 20.
maybe
Because
2020.
Yeah, because 2020 was when COVID, and I think you did it during.
Yeah, that might be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah. Okay. So you entered, and that was the first time you'd entered beers from Trek Brewing into the Great American Beer Fest, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember which beers you entered and the styles?
I think we did our red and our
Okay.
pale. Maybe.
Okay. So the red is
Ours-
kind of similar to Carl Strauss's trolley car.
That was the inspiration way back in the
Inspiration?
day. Yeah.
it's
It's changed. It's changed a little bit since I originally put that recipe together. But yeah, it's very enlightened by that beer. I
Okay.
guess.
Okay. And why did you choose these two beers? Were they the ones you just had available at the time and you sent them in, or did you?
Probably.
Well, my thought process is, did you brew some beers that you thought, wow, these are hitting on all the positive notes, and guess what? Great American Beer Fest is coming up. I'm going to go ahead and submit these because these feel like they're
No.
special. No,
No.
you just picked two things on tap, and
This was hey, we should do this. Oh, I don't know. And then Kristen won, and so I had to go pick some things.
Okay, so you were dragging your feet. Kristen said,
Well, I was distracted with everything else that was going on of just trying to stay open at the time. So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you sent two beers off. Now, what's involved in sending beers to Great American Beer Fest? Like, Kris was under the impression you had to send kegs. I said, no, I think you guys send
No.
bottles.
Yeah, so you have to send packaged beer. They have different like amounts of every packaging style that you need to send because they need a certain number of ounces or like fresh containers they can open per judging round, assuming you keep moving on. So I think for us it was 3 or 4 crowlers per beer that we had to send out. And that we joined in like a local shipment for like all the Ohio beers that were being sent out. So we just had to like drop them off somewhere, and then they got put on a pallet and sent out with everything else. But yeah, so you got to send quite a bit of beer for the judging. So
okay, so you answered one of the questions was, how do you get the beer to Colorado or wherever you sent it to? And so that worked out well. So there was a newsletter that went out and said, hey, we're sending a shipment to get in on this. Let us know what beers, and here's the price. And then you got into it. Is that how that worked?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now you sent your beers off. They went through the judging, and now you got feedback from the beers. Now, ideally, in most competitions, this is where you gain the most knowledge on what you can do to improve the beer, or what the judges deemed that wasn't, at a high quality that they're looking for. And this is, even if you didn't win a medal, and you would expect that this feedback might help you, maybe, make your beer even better presentable to your consumer. Was this the case with the feedback you guys got?
Our feedback was very sparse.
Mm-hmm.
I think each sheet only had like maybe 10 words on each one. Like there wasn't a ton on there. There were like markings, and like this is an enormous competition that all has to happen within like 3 days so I wasn't expecting like paragraphs, but it's not what you think of like in a homebrew competition. If you get good judges, they give you very descriptive feedback. But basically it was, this isn't moving on, and a couple of like quick low this, high that, or something, which sure. But yeah, it's not, I don't think that comp is designed for that though. I mean, really that comp is designed for marketing. It's designed around the medals, and that's why you have so many categories. It's why you have categories split into multiple categories to spread the love around. When you get those IPA behemoth categories that have 900 entries or whatever, well, we need to make this so there's like 300 and we can do 9 medals instead of 3, because that's what this is about.
Yeah. Okay. So then, in your opinion, based on your experience, how important is submitting and medaling in the Great American Beer Fest? At one point when you were on the show, you were a proponent of submitting and medaling because you thought that was going to bring good word of mouth, and you could put on a little medal on your packaging and it would signify something. Do you still believe that is true, or do you think that it's not? You still think it's true that that winning that medal and being able to put that on your packaging is going to reach out to more consumers?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that? How is that going to?
Because I've talked to people here locally that have done it, and it's like, yeah, we won the medal, and the next day, like, our salespeople didn't go out. Like, the calls came to them because people wanted it, like, in their store and in their whatever,
Okay.
So it definitely has a distro impact, and I would assume, and that was more what the conversation was focused on when we were talking about it. But I would assume that would also translate, in direct consumer retail sales as well. So.
Okay. And you think this impact would sustain itself, or is it a very short time frame that you're going to be able to get the benefits of it?
That I don't know. And maybe it depends on what you do with it, and how you then turn around and market it, but.
And in a small brewery like yours, if you were to submit a beer, and you already made a comment about this earlier, that you don't want to submit beers to a local competition if you are not going to have that available for people to come and find it. That's even more important if you submit to Great American Beer Fest, unless it's your staple beer canteen that you have on all the time. You have 15 barrels of it brewing all, day in and day out. You don't want to win a medal unless you can provide the beer, right? Because that just, makes it a disappointment if the people can't get the beer that won. They may still come and try other beers, but they really want to, know what the best beer in the nation is.
Right. I think ideally it's something you're going to have on hand, or at least something is going to come back around relatively soon, especially if it's in like a more hyped style. Like if it's, hazy, a double IPA, something like that, people will continue to seek it out.
Yeah.
If it's a one-off Martzen, that's probably not going to create the same buzz, but yeah, so and it probably differs per style on the longevity of something that's going to go, but No, I definitely think it would have an impact. And I mean, I can't tell you firsthand until we do it, but
Okay. Do you think you're gonna, like, in your future, do you feel that you're gonna submit beers to Great American Beer Fest in the future?
yeah, I definitely think we'll get back to it.
Okay.
So
Okay. Now last question. You know, have you thought about, or what, have you considered going to the Great American Beer Fest and pouring Trek beers in the convention hall itself?
I have not considered it. It'd be cool for the experience, but in terms of like an investment for the brewery to do that, like wouldn't make a lot of sense because we're not available outside of 20 miles from, 30 miles from where we are, from so
But isn't that the case for a lot of beers that are being poured there? I mean, I hear
oh yeah,
about these small breweries that are in Oregon, for example, that they only serve in their tap room, right? They don't have any distribution, yet they go and pour, and people just fall in love with their beers, and then they end up coming to the location in small little podunk town in Oregon to go find their beers, and they end up, having a lot of business that way. So, I mean, there might be a benefit, but
I'd be willing to argue that a lot is a bit of an exaggeration.
Okay.
And like I said, I think it'd definitely be really cool to do for the experience. And if you were
Okay.
going to the fest anyway, like, yeah, why not? Then you can definitely expense it, but
True,
that's,
true.
yeah. But I mean, if you're looking at it from a straight like ROI perspective, it wouldn't make sense. But like, I definitely, it'd be definitely something to check off. Like, yeah, we poured there. It was sweet,
Okay. Okay. I don't
Just
know.
the
I just thought
experience
that,
alone.
yeah. Because, I mean, you've gone to Great American Beer Fest at least once, right? Or once or
Once,
twice?
yeah. Once. Yep.
And did you, when you were walking through the convention hall and trying beers, had you tried beer from breweries you never heard of, and found enjoyment from those beers? Like things that you like, wow, if I ever get to Vermont, I got to go seek these guys out.
Probably. Did I ever follow up on that?
No, because if you ever get to Vermont, yeah. Okay. But Ohio is not, I mean, people come to Ohio and people come to Columbus, and they might want to come to Columbus
Yeah.
and become a little bit east and
For
come
sure.
to the Trek. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, Chris or John, that's enough. We've worn you out. We don't want to, and we want to be, we know that this is your day off. We don't want to keep you from your family. But we do have our new and noteworthy section. Do you have any beers that you'd like to chat about that you've had from local things in your area? Or, I mean, and if you don't, you can always talk about like some of your best-selling Trek beers as well.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the two new things we've talked about because it's the Luce and Church and the Intense. Like those are the two things I've been centered around recently. I haven't, my fridge is devoid of anything but my own stuff right now. It's been a start to a year. We just have not gotten out at all. So yeah, it's been a very Trek focused.
Okay. No. The thing is if you're making good beer, and I understand that you might get tired of drinking your beer all the time, but you have a variety of beers as well. So I don't think you'll ever get tired of drinking a variety of styles, even if it's your own beer. So I would drink it. I mean, I love Trek beer. I loved your beer when you were home brewing before you became famous brewer.
You have an interesting choice of words tonight, but I appreciate it.
All right, Kris, how about you? How about some new novelties from you?
Funny enough, I had a beer from one of those, big sold out breweries called Goose Island, from their Bourbon County brand stout line. It was their 14 stout from 2021. And there was so much going on in this beer. It was hard not to like it. I'll start out with this ingredient that was in it, Denny. There was rye in it.
Love rye.
But it also had things like cacao nibs and panela sugar, which is, if I remember correctly, kind of like sugar in the raw, and coconut water. as well in the beer, and then barrel aged on top of that. And it turned out a 4.5 cap rating beer that I bought 2 years ago that I finally got to enjoy. And there was so much going on with it. It was chocolatey, it was roasty, there was very minimal coconut flavor in it, but it was just an enjoyable beer to just sit down and enjoy a movie, or I don't remember what we were watching, but just sip on a beer and enjoy something that you kind of I wanted to clear out of my quote unquote cellar. Because there's stuff in there that I'm finding, just like you guys are, going, oh wow, I didn't even realize this was in there. So 4.5 cap rating for the Bourbon County Barrel Stout. Their 14 Stout is what it was called, from 2021. And then I had a beer the other night over at my favorite pizza restaurant, Gasparilla Pizzeria and Growlers, from Magnanimous Brewing right here in Tampa. They had a beer called Dark Messenger, and it was a porter, and I really enjoyed this one. This porter I had earlier.
And this one was better?
I don't want to call it better.
Different? Darker?
No, it's closer. Let's just put it that way. Magnanimous is right here in Tampa. Ivanhoe Park is all the way out in Orlando. And in order to get to these guys, I got to drive through Disney traffic, and that is for sure not happening.
That's not
so. 4.5 cap rating for this Dark Messenger from the folks over at Magnanimous. I only had 2 on my list. So Denny, what about you? What was
I have 2. I have 2 also.
Your new and noteworthy list.
Here's the one I was trying to remember. It's Dru Bru's Brewski Patrol Dark Lager. And what I said about this one is, look who came to town. I'm happy Dru Bru is now in Boise. Loved this beer, or loved the beer when I could get it while driving through the pass to Seattle. Great dark lager, 4.25 cap rating. And then the second beer I also mentioned was from Sockeye Brewing here in town. It's their HBC 586 single hop pale ale. Had to grab a 6-pack of this when I saw the hop. When I really enjoyed another pale ale, citrusy notes on the nose. The flavor is a bit light with a candy-like juicy citrus flavor, finishing with some peel zest. Light and refreshing, went down quickly. 4.25 cap rating with that as well. And those are my 2 beers. And then we're done. All right. Now it's time to go ahead and raise our glass to people who like to raise a glass to. So John, you're our guest. Why don't you go ahead and have an opportunity to raise a glass to someone you'd like to raise a glass to tonight?
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me back. It's always fun to chat with you boys. But then we got to say his name one more time. Cheers to Mark Church. We had an awesome time brewing that beer. Came out great. So I'm looking forward to potentially bring this back, unless Denny pisses me off, and then I won't, out of spite.
Come on, Denny, don't ruin it for me.
But yeah, cheers to you, Mark.
All right, Kris, how about you?
John, I want to say thank you for coming on, man. We get these little text messages every once in a while back and forth with you, but thank you for taking the time to come on with us. And it's always fun. We only torment the ones we love. So we appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with us and have a couple beers. So thank you very much. And Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to?
Well, I also want to raise my glass to you, John, because as Kris mentioned, you, even if it may be that you're a week late after release, you always listen and provide feedback, and we appreciate that. So thank you for listening still after all these years and providing some great feedback as well.
I'm just keeping tabs on Kris.
That's fine. And here, let me translate partially what Denny just said. He didn't send me any beer.
And then our Patreon toast tonight, he's already been toasted a few times. Mark Church. Thank you, Mark, for being a great Patreon supporter. We appreciate you, and for winning that blind bid and bringing Luce Cannon back to life as a new name, Luce and Church.
I should have worn my "It's time to get ship-faced" shirt then tonight, since there's loose cannon on the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I also want to raise my glass to my good buddy Victor Johnson, and his wife Kathy. They do a podcast called 50 Talk Podcast. They shouted me out on their podcast this week, so I want to shout them out and cheers to you guys. And of course, being a former serviceman, I always want to raise my glass and thank all those who have served and are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms, allowing us all to brew beer and drink beer and talk about beer. Thank you for your service, and please return home safe to your families very soon. And Kris, how about you give no, we're done?
Nope, we're done.
We're done with our sponsor, but next episode, we will be giving away our last.
Oh, you know what? It only makes sense to read it again since we're going to be giving it away.
Okay.
We still have one more to give away. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to be that guy then. Check out our sponsor, FrostBuddy. They specialize in cooling containers for your beverage of choice. FrostBuddy has the Universal Buddy 2.0, which is the world's first universal can cooler for 12-ounce cans, slim cans, bottles, and even 16-ounce cans. FrostBuddy also has the world's first universal wine cooler, 24-ounce stainless steel mugs, and even stainless steel dog bowls. Go visit their website at frostbuddy.com.
All right. You can find the beers, the articles.
That celebration was good, right?
Well, it's this 8.8 Wookie Jack, too, that's making me feel good. You can find the beers and links to the articles mentioned in the show in the show notes located on the show post at tabthecraft.com. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Untapped at Luce Grew. And Kris, and John, how can our listeners follow Trek Brewing and you?
Not really me anywhere anymore. I don't really do
nowhere.
it. Yeah, I'm a ghost.
How about Trek?
But trekbeer.com, at Trek Brewing on all the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot. You can talk to Kristen over there. She's awesome. Check us out.
Okay. And Kris, how can our listeners follow you?
So you might find me on Twitter, never at Chris_McKenzie82. But you can always find me on Untapped and Instagram at MCK1345. I'll take new suggestions for usernames if anybody wants to throw me some. But you can always interact with us on everything social, guys, at the Craft.
All right. It is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening. We ask you to please tell a friend. Of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I got one little sip.
Jeff Seiler said, great show, guys. Awesome to see John again. See, John? Not everybody hates you.
See, you got some love out there.